Hello and welcome back to the Ecuador Insider Podcast. Jesse, Brandon, pleasure to be with you on this lovely Tuesday afternoon.
It
It is
is.
the afternoon. So I can't decide if it's going to be cloudy or sunny today.
It's breaking out a little bit. Yeah. The sun feels good.
It's breaking out like a 14-year-old schoolgirl.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It was
Perhaps.
a little bit chilly this morning.
It was chilly. It was chilly last night.
Yeah.
Chilly
We're
overnight.
in that time of year where it gets slightly cooler, especially at night.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, you would like it. I would not so
I
much
like it. I like the briskness in the evenings, waking up in the morning. It's chilly. It feels good. It's good sleeping.
I
Good
think
sleeping.
when it's cold out, I just feel like I'm gonna die.
Yeah, it's not cold now. It was cold this morning.
Oh, yeah,
Coldish.
cold was it? What do you think the temperature was?
Yeah, I don't know. 65?
Yeah,
63?
Yeah, maybe that low.
Yeah, we had a nice day. It was beautiful yesterday. It was warm yesterday.
Yesterday was lovely. It was
Yeah.
windy, but
Yeah,
it was
a little
very
windy.
nice. So, anyways, we're gonna do a pod. That's why we're here, Brandon.
That's a great idea.
And
Let's do a pod.
We're gonna talk. I did go. I'm not even sure. I'm never sure, of course, what we're gonna talk about. But
But you did what?
I did go and fly to Quito.
Ah,
And pick up my daughter, who was coming back from a 7-week visit to the States,
and
where she
not just the States.
flew to Paris
Yes.
with my mother, and they spent a week or so there, and she visited her mom in New York and my dad in Vermont and
She liked it all
some
too.
folks out in Nantucket, and yeah, she had a great trip. But so I'm flying to. I had to fly. She's how old is my daughter?
16.
She is 15. She will be
Is she
16
15?
in July,
Okay.
shortly.
Good.
I'm glad that I got that right and you wrong. That would have been bad. Um, but so my 15-year-old daughter can now fly without any. She doesn't need to be an unaccompanied minor any longer. She just needs paperwork to leave the country, but the airline doesn't have any special anything for her to fly, which is nice. So she can get connections and do whatever she needs to do.
And that starts at 15?
14 or 15. It depends on the airline. It's actually an airline policy.
It's so weird. Right, because what is the 16, what does 18 mean? Your
Right.
driver's license, alcohol, cigarettes, 20 voting. But
It's
you
all
can't-
arbitrary.
Right?
No, I mean, even she was saying she was like wants to get her learner's permit in the States, she was telling me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what state? And she's like, New York. And I'm like, well, if you do it in Vermont, you could get it now because it's 15.
Right.
Driving age is 16 in Vermont. In New York, the driving age is 18.
Oh, is it really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think Illinois is 15. You can get I think I got my permit in.
Yeah. In
15.
Vermont, it's 15 for your permit.
Huh. Interesting. I didn't know New York was 18.
18.
I mean, that's probably a good idea.
I mean, as you get older, like that's automatically your perspective.
That's probably a good idea.
When you're a kid, you're like, oh,
Right,
can't believe
right.
it's 8. But then then you're 40 something, and you're like,
Yeah.
17-year-olds behind the wheel.
Ooh.
But anyway, so I had a couple of really, well, one was hilarious. The other one was me being grumpy and angry. That maybe wasn't funny so much as it was. I mean, you might find some comedy in it, but both are indicative of Ecuadorian culture. A couple of stories that I want to share. I don't think I've shared either of these with you offline. So the airport here is an hour away, an hour and a quarter, or hour and a half if you want to drive like really slow. But if you hit it, it's 55 minutes basically. The airport's an hour away. There's a back way that everyone goes, which is now paved and pretty decent.
Good.
And so I'm a few minutes late, shockingly, and we go out to the airport, and I get there with plenty of time. There's very winding roads. In fact, I just like pulled a fingernail out and I'm bleeding. They're like winding roads, and I actually took a taxi this time. And discovered what it's like to be a passenger on these winding roads.
Good.
I was like super nauseous.
Yeah, good.
It was rough.
Now, when I tell you to slow down, you will.
Listen, I had, do you tell me to slow down?
No.
I had some ceviche with me. which I couldn't eat.
Yeah,
I
no.
gave it to the taxi driver,
Right.
Kevin.
Kevin
Yeah.
took it. Okay.
But it was spicy. I don't know. I told them like it's spicy. I don't know if you're gonna. They don't really eat spicy in the mountains, but anyway. So, I get to the airport feeling really crappy. But it's this tiny little airport. There's few flights a day. It's surrounded by agriculture.
Right.
When me and Kirsten came back, I'm like, how many airports in the world would you get, this field of whatever was growing there? It wasn't sugarcane, which is the area in general, but right next to the airport. It's sunny, it's beautiful, it's hot usually out there in Catamayo, a little bit dry.
Yeah, there's one baggage. It's like a room with a glass door on each side that's got your baggage comes out, and you get off the plane, you walk to the door, walk in, grab your baggage, and walk out the other side.
Yeah,
That's literally the airport.
There's only one airline
right.
that flies in and out.
Yeah. Oh, is there only one now? I thought there was another one.
Is there another one?
I thought.
Is there a second one flying?
Maybe not.
I mean, it's changed. There used to be two, and then
I thought they added another. But
the government one shut down. They may have added another one that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, I thought so. But.
You're probably right. So anyways, we get out there. I check in. I go through security, which security's nothing. They're not paying attention. They could care less. You could bring water. You can bring whatever you want. I went through security, and I ran into Devin, who was the basketball player. Their family was there. And you're always going to see people There's another guy from Vilcabamba.
Right. Coming or going, either way. You'll see him on the other side of the glass.
Right. So I'm hanging out, starting to feel a little better after the trip. And they get out. The guy at the gate, there's only one gate. The guy at the gate, he gets on the loudspeaker, on the intercom, and he says, okay, we need 22 people to volunteer not to fly. So then everybody immediately rushes over to get in line to make sure that they can get on the plane.
Oh, that's funny.
So, the way my attitude towards life at this point, I'm not worried about it at all. I know I'm going to get there and pick up my daughter. I've been in this country a long time. These things can always be worked out. But I just kind of mosey over, and I stand though right by the door. So everyone else is in this huge line.
Right.
And I'm kind of right by the door where you would go out to walk, because it's not a gate where you get on one of those arms that is elevated that you walk through normally.
No, you literally go walk onto the landing strip.
Right. You walk on the landing strip, up the flight of stairs, onto the plane. So I'm standing by the door, and so they're very disorganized, and they're kind of they don't know what to do, and so they make this announcement maybe 3 or 4 times, and they're threatening us, right? So
Did
they're saying,
anybody go?
They're well, I'm getting there. So they're we need 22 people. If we don't get 22 people, this flight's not going to leave. We need 22 people. So one guy volunteers. so one guy volunteers, and so some sort of tidbits. And again, I'm telling this story because it's all very indicative of life here, all of it, the whole thing, right? So they don't have a protocol for this, obviously,
Clearly.
right? They're making it up as they go. So one guy volunteers. They're not offering anything.
Oh.
So the only thing they're saying is we're organizing a plane so that it can take you tomorrow. This was their sweetener.
Wow.
So they're not offering you money. They're not offering you, they wouldn't offer a hotel because everyone lives close to there.
Free ticket.
They're not offering a free ticket. They're not offering anything. They're just trying to get people to. So then after the 3rd or 4th time they announced this, and everybody's kind of just standing there looking at them uh-oh, they say, okay, raise your hand if you have an international connection, which I don't. But I'm smart enough to think this through. I'm okay, they're going to let the people who have an international connection on the plane. People told the truth. So maybe half the hands went up. So it wasn't everyone thought this through immediately and everyone's hand went up.
Oh.
Maybe about half the people's hand went up. And then
yours.
Well, mine for sure. I got to pick up my 15-year-old daughter, bro. She can't be by herself in Quito.
She can fly.
She needs a hotel. She needs to get, which she can't do. I was thinking
taking a bus.
I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna make her do that by herself.
You could have went there on.
No, I wouldn't have made it. That's a 10 plus hour bus ride. First, you got to get to Loja. So.
Okay.
So,
a little white lie.
I see that you're questioning my ethics. I have no moral dilemma here whatsoever, personally. But so then they open. A guy comes in from outside.
First come, first serve. Go.
And basically,
No, shut up.
basically, so a guy comes in from outside and open. If you think I'm ethically bad now, wait till I finish the story. You're gonna think I'm terrible. But so someone comes in from off the runway. Dude, I gotta get my daughter. There's no possibility I'm not getting on this airplane and leaving my daughter stranded in Quito. But anyways, so a guy comes in and opens the door, and when he does, like 3 or 4 people just start to walk out.
Oh boy.
And I'm standing right by the door. I'm maybe the 4th or 5th. I just walk out with them, right? So, and the guy's on the walkie-talkie. He's kind of like walking with us, and he's not sure what to do.
Right.
And then they close the doors. So it was only like 4 or 5 of us that got out. And so we just walk and follow the thing leisurely and get onto the airplane.
That's hilarious.
So now I'm sitting on the airplane. No one else has come yet. They haven't kicked me off or anything. I'm good. I'm just listening to music. Like, I need to pick up my daughter, right? And eventually, maybe 20 minutes later, like, another group came. And and then, there was definitely some empty seats. So I don't know how it got worked out, like, behind the scenes. But some people didn't.
Overworked it.
Some people didn't get on the plane. So the 22 seats thing, I think, happened.
Right.
And, I've had issues like that before in Catamayo, because they have this thing where if you have to get elevated. And I was watching the planes take off to kind of see, or the A plane take off. You got to get elevated pretty quickly there.
Yeah.
Because there's mountains everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I was seeing the flight path, how they take off. They go like right between these kind of 2 mountains, and then like boom, and it's like that angle they need that angle. And so I think when it's too hot or it's too windy, they get worried about the weight to be able to make the altitude. And there's been flights that have been canceled. There's been flights where they've had to pull people off, where you can have like a suitcase limit and things.
Same way on the landing, because they have to come through that and then U-turn.
Get down quick.
But they have to like U-turn around and then down quick.
Right.
So if it's windy, it's like they make one pass and they're like, nope,
they're
going back to Quito.
That happens too.
That happened to me.
Yeah.
Bad. Next thing you know, we're back in Quito. Right? I didn't even know they announced something. People laughed. I'm like, oh, it's probably no big deal. Put back. Next thing you know, we're getting off. I'm like, wait, they're handing me a ticket, and I'm like looking around and like, where are we?
Like a little doesn't look like Catamayo.
Like, oh, we had to go back to Quito.
So I just thought that was, it's just very indicative of life here.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, good.
Yeah, there's another interesting. It's ironic because the lifestyle here, like local, everything's tranquilo, mañana, very slow paced. No rush, no, very low stress for local people. And the interesting thing about flights, particularly out of Quito, or out of Catamayo, actually it's both. It's even in Quito as well. There's something about the lack of, I don't know what it is actually. It's not a lack of anything, I guess, but it's a difference in tranquilo mañana. So like in the States, the plane lands, the plane unboards, from front to back, logically. Like people wait and people stay sitting, and then till the row in front of you gets up and gets their stuff, then you're like, all right, I could start moving again. But you just kind of sit and chill. Like that would seem like that would fit the culture here. That's how people would be. But no, it's 100% the opposite. As soon as the plane lands, before the seatbelt sign comes off, everybody's up, grabbing their stuff, and they're rushing. Like if you're not up in a second, you're trapped. Like you literally can't get off the plane. There's 40 rows from behind you are already lined up, and they're like squished up against each other. They'll stay there for 25, 30 minutes. I'm not kidding. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
it's wild.
I think you're exaggerating slightly, but I know exactly.
Dude, I am not exaggerating at all. Because now I'm like, I'm not even going to get up. I'm going to wait until the plane is completely gone. I don't even care. I'm just going to sit here. This is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you still get, we're having a good time with this. Like, you still get loud clapping often.
Oh yeah,
after you land.
When they land,
I mean, I remember, I don't know what it was about this particular flight, because I've flown back and forth between Ecuador and New York like a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And this was years ago, but there was some particular flight where, it was sort of a different crowd than you're used to seeing. It wasn't like the upper class, well-traveled.
Upper class.
Uh,
Salud.
Salud.
No, where's your glass? Come on.
It wasn't like the upper class.
Look how fancy these are.
These are lovely. It wasn't like the upper class, business class, business people and folks. I don't know what it was, the time of year, maybe it was Christmas. I don't know what it was, but
Probably
there
Christmas.
was like, there was a lot of like indigenous folks, and it was just a different vibe. It was definitely like, I've been here a long time, you know all the classes, you know where people are from based on how they look and how they act and all that, how they talk and all this. It was definitely like the middle to like lower middle classes of people. And it was, the hilarity that ensued, I think it was like a lot of people's first time flying, or at least internationally, or maybe just flying. But just the stuff that went on that plane was really like entertaining, because the etiquette, there's just no etiquette, right? There's none of the etiquette, it was understood, and none of the protocols, and they're not listening to like any of the announcements or any of the stuff. So people are just doing whatever they feel like doing, things that if you grew up flying, like you just know, like, you don't do that, you do that. But and the round of applause when we landed was, it was heartwarming. It was like, but
that's great. So what do you think that's just a lack of understanding of the etiquette then?
No, I think it's cultural, because it's the same thing, like people will cut you in line here.
No, that is weird,
if you're standing at a store. And
the driving is a little more equivalent. The drivers are a little more like impatient.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's not, I wouldn't describe it as aggressive though, but it's a different, there's like a different
Depends
word.
where you're from. Like, I don't describe it as aggressive either. I've heard, but I'm used to New York driving, and you're from Chicago.
Yeah.
So, what we think of as aggressive is that.
Yeah.
Or that's normal maybe even. And that is, like, New York, you drive aggressively, but it doesn't seem to me to be aggressive.
Right.
It seems to me how you're just supposed to drive. But, like, I've heard other people call it aggressive here.
It just seems like that style of driving, it feels, congruent to life in New York and Chicago.
Right.
So for me, it seems dichotomous that's the exit a plane behavior and driving behavior, when everyday life is like the exact opposite on that. That's the irony to me. Like, it's just so different. Just for whatever reason, those two things don't jive with
no, it's true.
the tranquilo.
Because people are so kind, they're so caring, they're so not what's the word? Not depreciating. It's like they will happily give you over taking it for themselves. On things. But not in lines.
Getting off the plane, man.
That's very it's a good point. So then I get to Quito, and is the second part of the story is this hotel, which again, like, kind of just shows how things are here. So, often you have to stay at a hotel out in Quito when you're traveling. Usually when you're traveling back, you might get in at night, and then your flight can be the next morning or the next afternoon to get to Loja. So both of us have stayed, in some airport hotel many times, and I've stayed at tons of different ones. I've stayed at cheap, crappy ones. I've stayed at the nicest ones. I've been more adventurous and just tried some of the other ones. Stayed at lots of different hotels, and I've kind of settled on one that I really like, that I think, it's good bang for your buck, and they're just very kind and sweet and nice and professional, and the restaurant's great, and they have a steam room, and they have a hot tub and a sauna, and a heated pool, and there's green area, and the rooms are solid, and it's not crazy expensive. So I've kind of settled on that one, but I was thinking I would go there, and then when I was booking, like an idiot, I saw another one that had like pretty much the same amenities and was a little bit cheaper. And I'm like, let's give it a shot, right? So so it had the free transportation, which a lot of them do, and it had specifically a steam room, which is important to me, and it included breakfast, and it looked decent. And it was about $30 cheaper than the one I really like. So give it a shot. So since 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm trying, and this is not always the experience at all, right? This other hotel I'm talking about, they're on top of everything. They're fantastic. But this is indicative a bit of things you can run into here, that that you might be less likely to run into in a more developed, quote unquote, country. So I'm trying to communicate with them since 8 o'clock in the morning to arrange transportation from the airport to the hotel. So I text them at 8 o'clock on WhatsApp. That's how everyone communicates here. So I'm texting them on WhatsApp. They don't answer me till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which already was very strange. Usually you text a hotel, they're back to you in 10 minutes at the most. And the answer was so nonchalant. It was like a non-answer answer. I was already like, I have chosen poorly. so I'm trying to go back and forth with them, but they're not answering. So like I text them back and they don't answer again for a big stretch of hours. Start calling them, they're not answering their phone. So, and they're like telling me yes, they're gonna pick me up, but then they're not confirming, they're not actually like asking for my information. Like, it's super strange, right? So I get there and I'm calling them and they're not answering, and I'm texting them and they're not answering. Finally, I get them on the phone, like as I'm walking out into the terminal. I'm like, hey, like, and they're like, oh, let me call the driver right now and see where he is. And I'm, right? And so they call the driver, and then he's like, I'll call you right back. Doesn't. So I call him back. He answers. I'm like, okay. He's like, oh yeah, I spoke to the driver. He's not there. Like, hey, it's only $10 if you want to take a taxi.
No.
No apology. No, like, hey, we're really sorry. Nothing like that.
Man. Yeah.
Again, this
happens.
is kind of typical of the culture here.
Sure.
Like, it's not, this hotel, I think, is an outlier in terms of, like, it was awful in every way, including the people. Like, everything was terrible.
Oh, no kidding.
But it's still indicative of the culture for stuff like that to go on, right? Kind of just very nonchalant. Like, no apologies for stuff. It works. It doesn't work. Not people aren't really taking responsibility all the time for, screw ups or things like that. So okay. So I'm a little ornery at this point, and I'm having to hold it together because in this culture, again, right, you can't really give people a piece of your mind,
Right.
which I really wanted to, but didn't, at least up until that point. And so I take a taxi. I go to the hotel. I get there. They kind of have a nasty attitude. They can't find my reservation.
Dude.
They can't find my reservation. So I'm kind of frustrated about the whole thing. And then they finally get me checked in, and I'm like, hey, the steam room. I'm like, where's the steam room? Oh, yeah. Well, actually, that's extra. I'm like, excuse me? They're like, yeah, they're like, it's the hotel, but then if you want to use I'm like, listen. So now I kind of lost it as much as you can in this country anyway. so, they end after I like gave them crap, they like, to keep me calm, they gave me access to the steam room without charging me. So I'm asking about the restaurant. The restaurant's closed. And they're like, their reason why was, oh, well, we had a group here today, and that's over now. Like,
Whoa.
So the restaurant's closed. So then, it kind of goes on. Like, there's no reason to keep going necessarily, but it's just like that sort of, those kinds of screw ups, where details aren't paid attention to, people aren't always responsive, they're sort of nonchalant with the stuff. That's kind of life here in some ways.
It can be,
it's
yeah.
not every person, it's not every experience, but like that's not unusual either for people to sort of be like that. And usually it all works out fine. Like, this is one of the very rare occasions where it sucked from start to finish.
Right.
And I was like as pissed off when I left as I was when I got there. But yeah, and it turned out that the steam room they tried to charge me for actually didn't work. Like, it didn't get, like, it put steam out, but didn't get even remotely hot. Like, not even like a high degree of warm.
Well, mark that one off the list, huh?
Yeah. Well, it taught me, like, I was being cheap.
Yeah.
Can't be cheap.
I'm sure the other one, I mean, it was $30.
It's $30 difference.
Definitely not worth it, huh?
Definitely not worth it.
Actually, it was a little less because you had to buy a taxi.
That's right. That's right. It's 100%. Oh, they didn't even let me. You know how in Ecuador you can always check out basically whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like they'll always let you stay.
They didn't let you?
No. And I didn't argue about it because I wanted to get out of there.
Didn't want to be there anymore. Yeah.
But they're like, oh yeah, they're like reminding me like, oh, 12 p.m. You know, I'm like looking at them like, wow. And then the lady when I was leaving, she asked me, she's like the main lady who I was like having all the problems with. She's like, so how was your stay? I'm like, lady.
Right.
I'm like, it was terrible.
You did not say that.
Absolutely.
You did.
I'm like, it was awful. I'm like, I've never experienced anything like this. And I told her all my reasons. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are doing.
Did she say anything?
Yeah, I mean, she took it, and she
Yeah.
was like, she was like, well, like we're glad that like it was like a good experience to us to like learn sort of. I think she was implying like the foreign sort of mindset, and then she kind of gave me an underhanded, sly comment. She was like, "Where are you from?" Trying to imply like, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm from New York." I'm like, "But I live in Loja for the last 11 years."
Right.
And she got it. She was kind of like looked down, like, "Oh." So,
yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I've had good experiences at the hotels, man.
No, I mean, that's the first bad one I've had.
Yeah. Like over the top, the manager coming out like, hey, you guys can you go here or stay later,
Right.
We'll hold the restaurant open longer if you're flying in, like all of that stuff. Not even asking. Like that's been our experience so far. And
yeah,
I mean, again, it's not that, maybe half a dozen times, 10 times, maybe, I don't even know. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but it's kind of that dichotomy, right? It's like, it's not a place that understands service well, but it is a place that's super kind and accommodating.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of that dichotomy,
Yeah.
usually. I don't mean my experience now, but in general. It's like, they might not have everything perfectly lined out, but they're so kind and accommodating.
Yeah, like another example of that is going to the restaurants. Like you can go to a restaurant, you can intentionally place your drink order first, and then order your meal, and you'll have to ask to get your drinks first if you want them. Otherwise, they'll bring your meal and then they'll bring the drinks.
Right, or they might bring your meal, your drinks, and then your silverware after that.
Right, or that. Yeah.
Well, and there's no checking on you.
No, there's no refill. Do you need another drink?
No.
Do you need napkins? You need, right? Yeah.
Which is, and there can be like a cheapness around napkins, which is just funny.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
you get like one little paper napkin for your cheeseburger.
Yeah, there's a few restaurants that do that check, like for sure. Like the good, I mean, El Mexicano, Raul's got that place running.
Yeah, well, he's from the States.
Fabulous, right? But they check, like obviously all his employees are not,
Right.
but he's kind of worked that into making sure that that's understood. And the service is great there. You get your drinks first. They check on, was your steak done right? Was, how is it, anything, you have any, whatever. They were looking for feedback. And there's a few restaurants like that. But
and if you're in the big cities, that's not what it's not the case.
Yeah.
Like if you're in Guayaquil or Quito or even Cuenca in many cases, like you're going to get international standard service, just not the rest of the country.
Right.
Which again, for me is largely the appeal of this place, right? It's like all of the things that come along with that, all the rules and regulations, all the etiquette, the political correctness, just the pain in the butt stuff where it's like, it has to be this way. Everything has to be this way. You don't get any of that either.
Nope.
So it's well worth
it's way worth
having
it.
to, like, with a very kind person, having to be like, hey, like, my, fork. Right?
Please.
Like,
Yeah, okay,
like,
sure,
right.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's way worth it. Yeah, the political correctness piece that's a refreshing one, man.
Oh, gosh.
Such a refreshing one.
I mean, your wife was telling me the names of the soccer folks that you guys hang out with. So one of them is Pina.
Well, one of the kids on the team.
Or one of
he
the
works
kids.
he works his own Lion. You know, he plays on
so
that
his
IDV
name's
team.
Pina.
Well, the kids call him Pina because
his hair
is like a kind of like
a pineapple.
like an afro. He's got it all.
And then there's Gato, because he has green eyes.
eyes.
And then there's what are the other? There's like another one or two that were.
Well, I mean, like Tanya calls her daughter Mi Negra,
Right,
you know,
right.
which is ironic because she's the light-skinned one, but they call her the
Right.
dark-skinned.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they're both light-skinned, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, or Patron. Patron is another one of the kids' names, and his real name, I think, is it Tiago? I don't recall his actual real name, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Pato,
I mean, I'm either like when
Patron.
people refer to me, I'm either suco, which is like blondie, blonde, or I'm flaco, which is like skinny, or I'm joven still occasionally, which is like young person. Yeah, I mean that's been less over the years.
You haven't gotten that one in like a decade. The first year you were in Ecuador.
Possibly. And if people want to be super respectful, like they might call you like señor or something.
Señor, doctor.
Or that's true. A lot of times they'll say doctor or ingeniero
Yeah.
just to give you that respect because they think whatever.
Right. Yeah. You are also have the flaquito.
But yeah, flaco.
Yeah. Flaquito. What's flaquito?
No, I mean nothing. It's like the cute version of flaco.
No.
Like everything in Spanish, you can just add an
Right.
ito.
Flaquito. Yeah. I think on that vlog we did yesterday, I think we saw that's a real bird in Ecuador. It's a really rare
Still don't know the
breed. It's like one of the most. It's rarely been filmed. I mean, National Geographic doesn't even have it, and I think we
didn't
caught
you
it in
kill
the
this
wild.
joke on the vlog already. Yes.
I'm just setting it up like it's coming out, after this. So, if you guys want to see the never before seen, I mean, I think if Fernando captured it, we did get the mating ritual, which I think is honestly the first time it's ever been recorded.
mating ritual.
So check out the vlog.
I'm gonna keep my audio connected while I step off camera here momentarily.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna pee in the bushes.
He's gonna
over
go
here.
pee in the bushes.
Yeah. No.
So guys, if you want to see the flaquito, check out the vlog that we'll be releasing soon, and you will not be disappointed. And if you are, I'm sorry. You watch our content.
Well, if you are disappointed, is it my fault or yours?
I mean, they watch our content. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
All right.
No? If they're disappointed?
If they're disappointed, I'm just saying, like, is it the specimen, like the bird, or is it or is it the moron that like set up the shot and
it's
made
like a rare bird. I mean, bro, it's like a 1 in 100 million opportunity to see this thing. Like, how can that disappoint? The mating ritual in and of itself, the fact that we caught, I mean, and it's quick too, like really fast, the mating ritual. It's just not surprising.
I literally haven't, I mean, anyways. I don't really know what you're referring to, but it's pretty funny. So my daughter gets back from, and by the way, so anytime, when I come back here, even I'm in Quito for, outside Tababella for 24 hours basically. And, I just thought, still for me when I get back.
Yeah.
You touch down, it's this relaxed airport, nice people, everybody's lovely. And then, my wife came and picked me up and we're driving back and you're just surrounded by nature and sun and you can literally stop at a waterfall on the way if you want. My son, my 3-year-old who she brought with her, threw up like 15 times.
Both kids?
No, just the 3-year-old.
Both kids came though?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the way he throws up is very funny too, because he just kind of he doesn't launch, thank God. He just leans back normal in his car seat and just and he doesn't complain about it. It's fine with him.
Yeah.
It just keeps coming though. I mean,
yeah.
Apparently my wife had given him 5 bananas. Oof. Which was brilliant. And those were all on his lap.
Yeah, he wore them.
In the curvy, apparently like father, like son on that curvy road.
Well, it's weird though. How does it happen where when you're driving, you don't get it?
0.
Right. But then if you're the passenger,
which
what's
I had
that
never
phenomenon?
Really experienced before. Yeah,
right.
I don't know.
That's a weird phenomenon.
Yeah,
Because the road's good. It's just, It's windy,
Windy,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it's super windy, so I don't know.
So, you're passing these little sort of fruit stands,
Yeah.
where people just pick stuff and they put it out in these tiny little towns, and the landscape is gorgeous and feels good, and the weather's good, and it's just every time when I get back, it's like, oh, thank God I'm home. Like, I love it.
Yep.
Anyway, so we did that, and then as we're driving through town, your daughter and her friend were sitting at Zone Alliance, and Kirsten didn't notice them. I did, but I didn't point them out because I didn't want to stop.
You got flagged down, dude.
So then Bella and Arden
Yeah.
start shouting from we're way down the block at this point,
Yeah.
and they're
You're
screaming.
going to your house?
Yeah. Kirsten! And I'm trying to pretend I don't hear it, and then Kirsten's like, Dad, stop. I think that's Bella. I'm like, okay. So I stop. They come full sprint down the road, and, to chat.
They're excited to see her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's what's so
Yeah.
cool. It's like,
Yeah.
she has this big reunion with all her friends, and hanging out at the soccer field yesterday with my kids, or her brothers, and Quinn was there, and Raina, and just a nice
It's awesome.
scene.
Yeah, it's good. I talked to her a little bit. Yeah, she enjoyed her trip. She liked
She
the
did, yeah.
experiences, but I think she's happy to be back too.
Yeah, she's a traveler.
Yeah.
She likes to travel more than her old man.
Yeah. Well, you used to travel when you used to not be ornery and curmudgeon-y. Right?
I was pretty young. I got pretty ornery and curmudgeon.
She's 15.
Pretty quick. Yeah,
She's young,
At her
yeah.
age, I liked to travel.
Yeah.
Well, at her age, I was not a great human being.
Perhaps.
I got better quickly.
She's a pretty good human being. So
She's phenomenal.
I think whatever you didn't do
Perfect.
was good.
I'm often very impressed by that. Like, I wasn't ready for fatherhood when she was born. My other two kids that are younger, I was much more.
Were you?
I was much more, much more prepared.
Okay.
But
Definitely more experienced.
yeah, but your little underhanded insults.
I'm not insulting. I'm just being honest.
Oh gosh, plausible deniability. But yeah, she does remarkably well for
Oh, she's awesome.
a lousy quality of parents that she had.
There you go. You do it yourself.
Well, then was the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, you're great now.
I'm decent.
Yeah.
Not bad. Like a 7 out of 10.
On a good day.
I was gonna say 7 to 8.5, somewhere in there. Maybe 7. Yeah, 7 might be right.
Oh, come on, man. Like, how many parents get to go pick up their kids in the middle of the day, take them to the river, make them juices in the morning? Like, there's not a lot of parents, at least from where we're from, that have that opportunity where both mom and dad can participate in that together if they want, and it's much, they have opportunity to be a much bigger part of their kids' lives at young ages, where it's kind of the norm to get them in school, get them in daycare, get them in, maybe not because you necessarily want to, but because you need to kind of make ends meet and live that lifestyle there. So it's just,
No, and that is an everyday thing for all of our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tiff more than I walks Quinn to practice every day. Through the forest, over the river, to the field, and we'll pick them up. Sometimes we'll walk together, and I mean, like, 2 in the afternoon.
When
like,
you're not injured.
Dude, do we really want to go there?
I did good on the rocks.
We did good. I did good on the rocks.
Yeah, I mean, I
Felt
also
good.
get my kids, so I days 2 days a week or 3 days a week. I'm 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Where we pick them up and at 1 o'clock from their eco club activities, and just have blast the rest of the day. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So that gives you a few feathers in your fatherhood cap.
All right, I'll
Right?
take them. I do make them juice every morning too.
Yeah, exactly.
Delicious juice.
From the oranges we picked yesterday.
I got those. I gave
Did you
some.
make any?
Did you
Did you
get
make
yours?
them? I did. Yeah.
Well, I already had oranges, so they'll be like put in the queue.
Ah. All right.
Their number hasn't been called yet.
Okay.
How about you?
I did not. I didn't know that they were there till this morning. So.
Well, I gave them to your wife because you're just kind of like, I don't know.
What am I like?
I mean, you're not gonna pay attention to these things, obviously, and you're gonna be like, not passive, but like something, whatever the word is, to a fault. Where like even if you might want the oranges, you'll do everything in your power to not take them.
From you?
Yeah. Well, just in general, I'd
Oh.
say. So like, if I give them to your wife, she'll just take them, and remember they're there and probably use them. If I give them to you, I'll have to 5-minute argument about whether you're gonna take them or not, and then you'll like lose them on the way to the house.
Wait, I don't lose. What do you mean lose?
Not
them?
lose them, but they might get stuck somewhere and then get discovered later.
Might get donated.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Perhaps.
Right.
Perhaps.
So your wife was a better choice, I think.
That is a great choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's often the case on almost everything.
All right. Well, I don't know we didn't really talk about anything yet.
No,
but
we told a couple stories though.
we told a couple stories.
We talked about life here a little
Yeah.
bit.
A little
I don't know. You got any
Something.
comments on there? We have any comment? We had some good comments.
You gotta look them up. I can't do that.
You were the one that was always doing it. That's why we started doing it, because you were doing it.
Well, I would need. Yeah, I should prep for that.
Yeah.
It's a little hard on the spot
Okay.
to find the good ones. That's it, man. That's all I got. I think we just, we did this a couple days ago.
We talked too long before we started the pod.
That's really what it was. This gets good in the outtakes if we put it in.
Does
and you guys hang on.
It might be. Yeah. So what do you got going for the rest of the week, dude?
What's
going
do I
on?
have going on?
We got anything fun going on the rest of this week?
Tomorrow's basketball.
Basketball. Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yep.
Then I have a call tomorrow night with Giaya Ariati.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be great. Wednesdays are my kids' day, so I get the afternoon with my children.
Yep.
I'll take them to the river. I'll take them to soccer.
Yep.
Hang out at the park.
Mm-hmm.
Do a little dinner somewhere. And actually not dinner because I got that call at 6.
Okay.
And then Thursday we got a busy day, I believe. We're going out to San Pedro to hang out a little bit with Juan. And,
Chicky chicky boom boom.
Chicky chicky boom boom. He's awesome.
He is
I got to
awesome.
get him on the channel.
Yeah.
And I think we got a couple other things scheduled for Thursday, a couple meetings and so forth.
Yeah. Friday.
I think we got I got some meetings as well.
I think we got lunch Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Thursday night you've got the political debate.
I think I'm gonna go get a session with Sarah on Friday.
Sarah.
Her
All right.
Zenai.
Ooh.
It's so good, man.
Nice.
I hadn't done it in a long time. I used to go once a week.
You just went back.
I went back last Friday,
Mm.
and I was reminded of how freaking amazing
Cool.
it is.
I've never
It's like
ventured there.
the spine.
Okay.
She's very good at that spine
All right.
aspect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have spine issues?
I got some low back
Yeah.
tightness that I'm
Right.
in the process of.
It's got to be close.
It's a lot closer than it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a lifetime of, maybe multiple lifetimes, but definitely a lifetime of holding that I'm in the process of releasing.
Good. And you're also in the process of not creating more holding.
More holding. Which I'm
That's
not,
awesome.
I'm not fully, I still create some holding
Yeah,
occasionally,
yeah.
but I'm doing better
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, that's why I have to show you dumb stuff so you let go.
That's the holding.
No,
There it is, bro.
It's
That's the
hilarious.
holding.
It's
Oh
so
my
not.
gosh.
It's so not.
Brandon and I go into the office today for a marketing meeting, and Brandon whips out his phone. You were very pleased with yourself.
It's
You
great.
were- You were like,
It was the greatest thing I saw before 9 o'clock this morning.
the high bar.
It really
What
was.
time do you wake up? 9:15. So, anyways, you were very pleased with yourself. You were kind of like lit up. I would describe you as lit up
It was great.
as you as you put in front of me and forced me to watch. Like I was not. I
Yeah.
tried to leave several times.
Yeah, I handcuffed you to myself.
What
And
looked to me like was an
held your eyes open with
Asian. I'm not sure, but like it looked like
Japanese.
yeah, like an
I
Asian
think, maybe.
country midgets
Midgets.
singing a song.
Very harmonic, traditional.
Yeah, traditional, huh?
It felt folkloric.
Yeah.
It was great.
And then you just thought this was fantastic.
It was.
Yeah.
You could not stop smiling.
No.
Listen. You can pretend whatever.
No.
You could not stop smiling.
Nope.
Look at you. Even can't stop smiling now. Look at see. You're thinking about it. You can't stop smiling thinking about it.
I'm smiling right now for the same reason I was smiling then, is that your excitement and just your whole shtick is hilarious.
My shtick.
Your shtick.
What's my shtick?
Well, at that point in time, you're like being like you're like giving me a pep talk or something when I didn't need it at all. I was in like a great mood.
No, you weren't.
And I'm ready for the meeting. I'm happy. I'm feeling good.
That's such a
I
lie.
just finished yoga.
Oh, I wish you were telling the truth, but
I am telling the truth.
No,
and then you're making me watch this crap that I just have no interest in.
You were an hour and a half late. You were not in a good mood.
I was totally in a good mood.
You're all like, let's go. You show up an hour late, you reschedule the meeting, you reschedule the meeting 30 minutes, then you show up 20 minutes later than the reschedule, and then you stroll in there and you're like, let's go. Okay. Okay.
Well, some of that is accurate, but in fairness to me, we had
Some of it is accurate, just like you got an international connecting flight. Okay, pal?
So you're saying none of it was accurate?
I'm just saying, maybe all of it was 100% accurate.
I mean, if that's the case, that would be the first time.
First time.
All right, maybe they've heard
I want to
it.
put a clip in there of this.
Of what?
Because how awesome this was.
Of the song?
Of the song.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit this, right? People with your kind of personality, which is not personality, your kind of sense of humor, which is most people, will appreciate this video. I'm that guy growing up, like like in high school, all my friends were really into XYZ comedy stuff that I don't understand what's funny about it.
Yeah. You just have a very bland sense of humor. It's pretty
Right.
boring.
Okay.
Right. I mean, really, it's dry, it's boring. It's like, I find humor in everything because I have so much light that I can find the humor in it, that I can find the positivity and the joy in it. And you just be like, oh, back to my cave. I don't want to smile. It's making my cheeks hurt to smile. Oh, it's dark out. I mean, bright out. I want it dark.
Ignoring the part about me, there might be some truth to the. I was gonna say the second half, but then you went back to me, so it'd be like the middle section of what you said.
It's just about you, me, me.
Right.
Us.
They don't know what that's reference.
Maybe one day they will. Somebody does.
Okay, guys.
We do.
All right.
We hope to see you guys down here one day.
Until then.
We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. What the fuck? Dude, you got issues, bro.
I do.
You're fucked up, dude.
So what are you telling me?
I keep telling you this fucking over and over, dude.
What?
And you keep discounting it.
What am I discounting?
And that's why you're missing all
What am I missing?
that.
What? I just told you got
sun.
fucking released.
Yeah, and you're
I didn't miss it.
lie. You're being confused by it. And that's...
Is it the real Assange?
It doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it?
Because it's just the time we're in. All this stuff is happening simultaneously, all of it. And you keep discounting that. Oh, people have thought that before. How do we know? Maybe it's 1,000 years from now. It's not. It's right now.
What? It's always right now.
No.
Always.
When they were working for communist revolution, well, that's probably a bad example.
Yeah. Oh, damn it. Why aren't we recording this?
Well, hopefully we are.
Oh, I want you to keep going.
See? Yeah. But no, like...
No, use your example.
Well, even that, fine.
No, you can't.
Even that, fine.
Why do you have your phone? Why do you have your phone?
You don't need mine. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is what you're missing. So it's in we're in the Greek apocalypse, the Greek meaning of the word
The
apocalypse.
unveiling.
Yeah,
All that's
all that
hidden.
is hidden will come to the light.
So what
And so the
do you
dark forces are being removed. They're being literally, the light is being shined on darkness to the point that it can no longer function, be in charge, or be who it is. This is why you're seeing all the Diddy stuff. This is why you're seeing everything you're seeing is because of this. Everything. But you keep discounting it.
is that like the vampires?
Same
Like,
with Trump. It's why you're seeing Trump, and he's not. He should be logically controlled opposition, but he isn't. And that's why. That's why.
so that means you're going to watch the debate Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
Yeah. It would be
I
pure
mean, I would
entertainment.
watch it maybe with you, if it's like a good setting, and I don't know. I might last 10 minutes, but
No way. It's got to be. There's got to be
I
something.
mean, the last time I watched a debate, just to know how far removed I am from this kind of shit. Like the last time I watched a presidential debate would have been
2016.
definitely not.
Yeah, you watched Trump. You were all about it. You told me like,
No.
oh, Trump. You were Trump and Trump
Not
and
at all.
Trump.
No. I can't. I woke up to Trump in 2020.
Yes.
And
You didn't
I
watch
didn't
any
watch-
debates in 2020?
No, definitely not. And I didn't watch any in 16. And I don't think I watched any in 12.
Well, 12 would have been the year after Obama.
Yeah, I
Hurt
didn't
your
watch
feelings.
those. Whatever those were, I didn't watch.
That would be the term after Obama crushed your hopes and dreams.
Well,
Yes.
when was he elected?
I mean, he was 08, right?
8 to 16.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So I woke up in between his election the first time.
After you campaiged for Obama.
Pretty much. Yeah. In between the first time he won, or when he won,
Yeah.
and between then and the next time he ran.
Yeah. I woke up after it. Well, I remember he did this little 30-minute like commercial right before the election. And this is a dude that's from Chicago, or not from Chicago, but
Does he
community
exist?
organizer
Right.
in
That
Chicago.
no one has ever has it.
And yeah, and then, but I remember that commercial came out, and that was like almost choked me up. It was so powerful and well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, this guy, yeah. And I was super naive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw what happened in that term. That's like the first time in my life I actually paid attention to politics at
Okay.
any level.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm like, all right, forget this. And then I became a Ron Paul fan, and I was like,
In what
that's
year?
This was when he ran in 12 against Obama. While he was running for the
Was that the one time where he got like a decent chunk of the vote?
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
changed the
stole it.
electorate.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
stole
changed
it, yeah.
everything and took it from But that's when I was like, I mean, I made donations to his campaign. I had Ron Paul shirts. I was going to be a delegate, you know.
Yeah.
And because he was all about ending the Federal Reserve and all this.
He's an anarchist, like
Yeah.
in many ways. He's exactly what I.
So that's when I was destroyed. That's when I was like,
When you
just-
saw through it.
when I kind like Obama was the first for me, you know, just seeing like.
they wouldn't let Ron Paul win. He
But
would've-
then when
he
I
would've
saw
won, too,
Ron
by the
Paul
way.
not
Ron
being,
Paul would have won that election.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And then, yeah, when that happened, when the Republican Party did that, you know,
Right,
quote unquote,
exactly,
Republican
right.
Party did that, changed the rules, then I'm like, then I was totally at first I was disenfranchised. I was, you know, do you know what, like, you know what I mean?
You were disenchanted.
No, I was disenfranchised.
You're
Is that the right
disenfranchised?
word?
Well, yeah, but they use that for like, you know, like you're like a
Franchise
not
owner?
a minority group, but like you're not a victim group. What's the word when you're like you know, you're like a group of need. You're like you've been disenfranchised
Sisters
because
of
the
the
color
poor.
of your skin or
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
you know
okay.
like stuff like
Well, I
that.
was.
You were.
and yeah, and it made me sad, dude. And then I was angry, and then I'm like, oh, this is nuts.
Yeah.
This is all just bullshit. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And then it became entertaining. And then when Trump came around, and everybody, you know, people
You got excited
hated.
about it.
Well, no, then it was just like pure
I'm sure you didn't
entertainment.
get excited about Trump.
I did get excited. What do you mean?
All right. So
I mean, because at that time, you know, it was all now all the mainstream, the mainstream conspiracy alternate news was way less mainstream in 2016.
Yeah. Wait, you're right. Way less. It's really mainstream now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So back then it was not
Which is
nearly
another
as
example what I'm talking about.
mainstream. So that's why I'm like, wow, he's actually, and at that time, there was there's always no filter on Trump, but he was saying things and I'm like, wow, he gets it. He gets it, and he's entertaining. Listen, he's an entertainer, man. Like I'm entertained by him, so I don't pretend that I'm not at all. Still to this day, at whatever, 80 years old, 75 years old.
Yeah, like in many ways I don't listen to him, like I don't enjoy anything about politics, like nothing, right? Like I can't.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but it's like I find it repulsive. Like I can't do it. Like if I see, someone's asking those stupid questions, and then it's like the level of answer they're forced to give.
Yeah.
And it's just, I find the whole thing just super repulsive. So like I don't watch him, I don't listen to him, I don't do any of it. But yeah, like I think he carries the light, man. I think he totally carries the light. Like,
the interesting thing, man, is that even when they get those questions, it's a slippery slope, double-edged sword in a way, because when Trump comes through and kind of takes the unwritten rules off the board,
right.
then it gets even more repulsive. Because then the other,
Kinda.
In a way, but it's not from an entertainment perspective.
But not from a truth perspective either. It's like the first time you're watching and it's not total.
Right, but it's ugly. But it's more ugly.
But it's honest. I don't see for me that's not ugly to me.
But it is ugly.
I mean, calling it saying
like
Joe Biden doesn't know where he is and stuff like that.
That's not what I'm talking
about.
It's
the truth.
No, I just mean
It's the truth that we all know and all can see, but we're not allowed to say.
No, everybody says it.
Yeah, on TV?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't watch TV.
Yeah, everybody says it. But they say the same things about... See, that's the part you're missing, man. The same things that you think about Joe Biden, die-heartedly, the liberals think about Trump.
Right. Well, that part is probably... That's the entertaining part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, it's priceless.
Yeah.
It's priceless, man.
Yeah, the split reality is fascinating.
Yeah.
And the way that's, again, all prophesied. Like
By
all
who?
of this prophecy.
Who prophesied it?
Well, many people, but like the split, the idea of the split, and then even in the Bible, they talk about the new earth and that earth, I don't remember how it's described in the Bible, but like in the book of Revelations, but it's like the new earth basically comes out of the old earth and, becomes a new thing. So that's a representation of the split, right? And so we've been seeing the split happening now, like in earnest, like in a totally different way since 2020. And the politics and everything else are representing that like very well, where you literally have completely distinct realities.
Yeah.
Like you have a reality where the drug companies are for your health and on your side and saved lives and like stopped the pandemic from being, orders of magnitude worse than it could have been. And sure, there might have been a couple of mistakes made along the way, but that's to be expected. They were rushing and right. There's like, that's a whole reality.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a whole reality of like, it was all planned and they're putting poisonous in you and,
facing lawsuits now.
Yeah.
Right.
So like those two sets of people think the others are insane.
Right.
And I would say the same for Biden and Trump.
Dude, right. That's why the debate is going to be entertainment. It's like going to the moon in the 60s or whenever we went, supposedly, when we watched Kubrick.
When we went to the moon. Right.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick.
Right. Come on, man. The whole world. It's not just the United States either. This is the world's watching this.
Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting to me about it too, is because just, obviously it's always as above, so below. So it's like the Trump or the U.S. president, the U.S. in general, matters more than any other country on earth in terms of what they're doing, because like I would say it's really just like energetically or culturally, or there's a better word for it, but just sort of what people think about it. It's like they represent the U.S. for whatever it is or isn't. Like it's just a place, but whatever it is or isn't, for in people's minds globally, it kind of represents the world's superpower, the leader, the home, land of the free, home of the free. Not to say again that, so of course, I don't mean like at all that it's like people think of it positively necessarily everywhere, anything like that. But it has this aura about it. It has this mystique about it, the U.S., right? So it really matters what takes place in the U.S. because much of the world takes their cue from what the U.S. is doing. And then, of course, that plays through militarily, economically, in other ways as well.
I mean, is that the chicken or the egg? I mean, isn't it also have to go back to the money system and
Absolutely.
And the world kind of kowtows to that until
Absolutely.
they don't, and we have issues like we're starting to see.
Completely. But it's like, to me, that's what's interesting to me about the election.
Yeah.
Right? Is because...
So stop saying you're not excited, you're not interested, you're not... It is entertaining, you are entertained by it, and you just said it.
There's another piece of that that's interesting to me, too. It's like, it's not... I don't know that there's another country on Earth. There's only one country probably on Earth. Again, doesn't mean it's true. But there's probably only one country on Earth that represents freedom in people's minds. Like, it represents freedom. Mm-hmm. Like where we live now, they don't have this idea that they're supposed to be free. Like, that isn't a concept here. It's like, when it isn't. Like, when the police are like, decide, like, we're gonna do this now, people aren't like, you're violating my rights,
Right.
like, I'm free, good luck, come and get it. There's none of this at all. Right? The U.S., represents freedom. And so there's something significant about that, because if the U.S. falls, I mean, obviously it's fallen a long ways already, but but if the U.S. falls to the point where it like crashes and burns in that kind of way, psychologically, globally, like, that's really significant.
Oh, yeah.
In people's minds in terms of freedom fell, basically.
Right. Well, where do you see that? You see that crashing and burning anytime soon?
Yeah, so I mean, I gave up on timing over a decade ago of anything, right? Like, it's not trying to figure out timing of anything, I think, even in my own life. Like, I don't try to... I know, like, the next steps in my life. I know where the ship is pointed. And outside of that, I let God, like, like, that's...
Yeah, but that's the difference between using hyperbolic words like that, like crashing and burning, if it,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's within the realm of possibility, that I don't think it's likely, no.
Right.
No, but I think that those timelines exist. Maybe they don't at this point, partly because of Trump.
Right. Well,
partly because of Trump
we'll
and
see.
what he represents, and that it's also that's the other thing. People are onto it. That's really what it is.
What are they onto?
They're onto the BS.
Yeah, a lot of people
Like,
are.
they're on to the BS. Like, people at whatever degree they're at, they're waking up.
Sure.
Like, for real.
I agree.
Yeah, and so, they can't get away. It's like I was thinking about this the other day with global warming.
Oof.
Right? I was thinking about this with global warming, right? And it's like, if you follow the global warming narrative, it's terrifying.
It's getting warm.
It's a terrifying narrative, because not only are you about to die and your whole species, but you're the cause of it too.
Yeah.
So
all your habits and all your...
Right.
Yeah.
So it creates guilt, shame, fear.
Yep.
Like, in abundance, right? And they spent, like, you can go back to at least the early 70s. I don't know, probably before then, but you could go back at least to the early 70s and read the predictions of X, Y, and Z, but having around climate, the ozone layer and global warming and all this crap. You can go back.
Cooling, warming.
Right, right. You can go back and read. Yeah, we're gonna have an ice age, and then they just. Yeah, anyways, you can go back. They've been pushing that narrative in an extremely cohesive, fully, like a lot of resources went into that.
Yep.
Every television station, every newspaper, every college classroom, every science book, like you name it, that agenda. Like when I was a kid growing up in the 90s, like I was born in 82, so basically growing up in the 90s for the most part, none of us questioned it at all.
Right. We got hit with the propaganda when, like our generation, and I'm a few years older than you, we got really hammered with the Al Gore documentary, the Inconvenient Truth documentary.
I went and saw it in the theaters.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
I wrote a whole paper on global warming in college.
Right. That's what kind of set that was like the tipping point.
That was a big, yeah.
The tipping point of that. And then that's also programmed a lot of folks that from that era that were in college or high school at that time, that became like the capstone or the foundation of their belief system in some ways.
Right.
And then continued to live, through going through life just seeking out things that support that, making decisions that support that piece, and saying sometimes that I look at both sides, but clearly not, because everything from the other side is just discredited and
It's the oil companies.
Yeah. So
I believe that narrative.
Yeah.
But the point I wanted to make on that, as we were talking about like people waking up, so even something with that level of agenda behind it, that level of resource, that level of like cohesion to get people to believe a narrative.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what percentage of people, and I wouldn't trust the polls on this at all, but like, I don't think the polls are very accurate in general, but like.
I'm offended.
Right.
I'm Polish.
I don't know what percentage of adults, believe or don't believe the narrative at this point.
Yeah.
But a very large percentage does not. I don't know if that's 30, 40, 50, 80, I'm not sure, but
yeah.
Whatever.
It's an interesting time, and all of those kind of things on what the polls say and what's popular and what's not, because there's a big chunk on both sides, I think. How much is it 30-30 on the convicted ends and 40% in the middle? It seems like.
But what does the middle mean anymore?
Right, that they don't care, have no opinion, are too exhausted, are too stuck in them, going through the motions of the matrix, that they hadn't even think about it. They couldn't care less to have an opinion. I mean, and then, much less, uneducated folks, there's tons of people that could fall in there for different reasons on why they don't have a strong opinion, because they either can't, too busy, or choosing not to, lots of reasons. So, but how big is that? Because it seems like, with social media and just talking to actual human beings in person, that it feels like the middle is dissolved. It feels like there's way less in the middle.
Right,
it's
that's
just
the split, yeah.
Right, so if that's the case, how much is it 80-20? I don't know. Again, because, we don't know. We have the polls that kind of go against, what common sense or what intuitively you're kind of feeling or thinking.
Right.
And is that cognitive dissonance? Is that our own bias? Or is there something, is there something more to that?
Right. And anyone, whatever someone's perspective or opinion is, they got plenty of ammo to argue any of that.
Right.
Like, oh no, anyways. So, all right, you ready?
Are we?
Yes.
All right.
Hello and welcome back to the Ecuador Insider Podcast.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel here. For real estate videos, click here. For content you're gonna absolutely love, right here. And to find out how these crazy guys got to Ecuador, click right here.